We watch the world wake up from history every morning on this program. We listen to it, too, because we're on radio stations all across the state, and very glad to have you with us this morning on the morning after the Red Wings have extended their season, their Stanley Cup hopes, by beating the Sharks yesterday. So Thursday will be the final and deciding game of this series, one way or another, out in San Jose. Today's show is facing a transition now. Ann Curry will replace Meredith Vieira as the show's main co-host, just as important transition as the television program will have to make. After all, Matt Lauer said that he's talked with Katie Couric about the idea of teaming up for a syndicated talk show, and it's not going to happen. So Matt Lauer is probably going to stay for a long, long time, and that everybody's breathing a sigh of relief, I would think, at CBS. I met the president of CBS, Sean McManus, at a party on Monday night down at the World Golf Hall of Fame. He's a very unpleasant fellow, to tell you the truth, which surprised me a bit. He was cold and just sort of dismissive and not very much fun to meet at all. And isn't he Jim McKay's son? Isn't Sean McManus Jim McKay's son, the late Jim McKay, who was one of the finest gentlemen and the finest sports broadcasters in the world? I think so. So sorry to hear that. That was kind of a disappointment. Sometimes you invite yourself to the party and you find out that, somebody's either having a bad day or just not very nice in general. But that's what the case was in that situation. Iran is expected to put 2 American hikers on trial. Can you imagine going on trial in Iran, what that would be like? They were hiking along the border of Iraq and apparently crossed into Iran either accidentally or on purpose. And Iran said, you're spies. You're going to be tried as spies. The chair of the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Rogers, is on the other end of our line this morning, and he's been in all those places. He's with us. Good morning. Thanks for being available.
Well, I have never been charged as a spy, Michael. That's one place I haven't been.
Yes, but you have been a spy, have you not?
Well, it's a strong word.
Well, you're in intelligence. You're the head spook of them all, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose.
What will happen to these people?
My first secret meeting, they blindfold you and drive you around for 3 hours and get you to the first meeting, and they untake off the blindfold, and I found out it was a Dunkin' Donuts on the east side of town.
See that?
This is it.
Pretty good. And then they whisper quietly so no one can hear.
Exactly.
Over the culottes or whatever they have there. So if these 2 hikers are charged with spying, what is their fate? What awaits them in Iran?
Well, it's a crime punishable by death in Iran. This is a lot of political showmanship. They're trying to take advantage of the tensions in Pakistan. The Iranians are bad actors, and and believe me, these folks are not spies. And I think it's an awful tragedy. They're using these folks who accidentally went on the wrong side of the border during a hike, and now are being used as pawn in what is a bigger political game for Iran. And it's unfortunate. This is going to only increase tensions. It's going to make things even more difficult. And it clearly shows that they're not ready to join the rest of the international community when it comes to the rule of law.
Being a travel writer, I noticed this week there have been 3 or 4 stories of in-air incidents. A couple where people tried to open the emergency door. It happened again last night on a Delta flight. Another one where somebody left a note about a bomb in the bathroom. Were these happening all the time and we not hearing about them, or all of a sudden because of the threats of revenge for the death of Osama bin Laden? Is there any relation? Is somebody trying to take down an airliner?
Well, we don't have any indications that there's an imminent plot today to do that. There are always these lone wolves that are always a concern of ours, and we think that some of that is just this rash of a little bit of being touched in connection with some of their ideological beliefs that are leading them to do these dumb things, and they're clearly not well thought out. And hopefully never to be successful. But we may see a little more of this. This is one thing that the intelligence community gave some warning of, that, hey, there's going to be some lone wolves that go a little nuts here and do some dumb things, and I think that's exactly what you're seeing.
Huh. There was some talk that maybe the death of Osama bin Laden should have been kept a secret. In other words, if you had all of these zip drives and computer files and information and all that, that the Obama administration, trumpeting that they had them and telling the rest of the terrorist world, gave them a chance to sort of start to try to cover their tracks. Is there any validity to that?
Well, I don't think we should have kept his death a secret. It was a very important psychological blow to the Al-Qaeda network. You have their inspirational and operational leader just taken off the battlefield, and that was huge, and that was what they were selling as their aura of invincibility against the great United States. Mm-hmm. That, I agreed. We absolutely should have said, yep, he's dead, and guess what? You're next. Talking about the operation and what they took out of there, I was a little surprised. They shouldn't have given operational details, number one, and they should have never talked about the things that came out of the facility, at least for some time. Now, there can be value later on if you're trying to motivate bad people to do good things, to talk about some of those things, but right out of the box, pumping their chest and doing all of that, I didn't think was appropriate, really.
That's what I thought you might say. Thank you very much for the chat this morning. We appreciate it. Travel safely, sir.
Hey, thanks, Michael. It's always good to hear your voice.
All right, we'll see you at the Washington, D.C. Dunkin' Donuts if you want to know where all the secrets are. Congressman Mike Rogers, he's the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, the Republican from Brighton, and nice enough to spend a few minutes with us this morning. At 25 minutes after the hour, Michael Patrick Shields heard all across the state of Michigan. Coming up later, Pastor Terry Jones. He's coming back. The man who burned the Koran and wanted to protest in Dearborn will be back in Michigan, and we'll find out what he's up to then. It's Michael Patrick Shields.